For today's project, we are going to be mechanical engineers to design a ping pong ball pickup device. We are going to challenge ourselves to pick up a ping pong ball off of the ground without reaching down. Now that we know what we're making, let's make sure that we have all of our materials ready. Inside of your project bag, you should have 5 large paper clips, 3 small paper clips, 3 feet of string. In addition to that, you will want 1 blueprint worksheet, 4 sheets of printer paper. And for testing, we will need some ping pong balls, 1 9-ounce paper cup. And to complete this, outside of your project bag, you will also need some tape, a pair of scissors, and a pen or a pencil. Now that we have all of our materials ready, we can start building our project. Before we start building, we must design what we want our device to look like on our blueprint worksheet. Our goal is to pick up a ping pong ball from far away without dropping it. This project is also an engineering design challenge, so everyone may come up with something different. Feel free to follow along with my design or to create your own. I'm going to use our materials to create a claw that can grab our ball from the floor. You could also create a long spoon, a shovel shape, or something that you could lower down with the string. I will use our paper clips to make the claw, then I will roll paper sheets to make a long handle to reach the ball. I'll design that here on my blueprint sheet now. Once we know what we want our ping pong pickup device to look like, we can begin building. We will start by building the arm to hold our claw. First, take a sheet of paper and roll it into a tight tube. Make sure to roll it long ways, like so, and make sure that your roll is decently tight. Once you've rolled your paper, go ahead and tape it closed. You don't need to use too much tape here, but just use enough to keep it shut. Now we're going to repeat this step 2 more times with some other pieces of paper, and I'm going to make them just slightly larger than this roll so that they can fit onto the end. One tip for this is we can actually roll the next sheet around this piece in order to make sure it's the right size. So I'll place our previous piece inside, and once again, I will roll it long ways. I'm also going to keep a portion of our previous roll sticking out so that I can remove it later. So I'm wrapping tightly around the width of our previous roll. And once again, I will tape it shut at this size, like so. Then I can pull out my previous roll, and I can go ahead and leave it in there for now because we will be placing it in at the end anyways. And I will get my next roll of paper, and once again I will roll this one slightly longer than the last one we just made. So I'll place it inside, leave some of my previous rolls sticking out, and roll this one around. This does not have to be precise, and we're just doing this in order to increase the rigidity of the arm by adding an overlap between these rolls. So now that I have this, I'll go ahead and I will get this roll out of the previous one. So now you should have 3 rolls just like this. So we can see that this roll has come out of my other 2, and that's okay because I'm just going to reconnect them. So I'm going to place this one back inside of the opening of the previous roll. like so. And then we're also going to tape all of these rolls together where they overlap. So I will get nice long pieces of tape that I can wrap all the way around the diameter of these connections. And by overlapping the rolls like this, we will improve rigidity and stiffness by preventing our arm from bending at these connections. All right, and as you can see, I have one big long arm with all of these connected pieces. And for the arm, feel free to experiment with more or less rolls to adjust the length of the device. And now that we have completed our arm, we're going to set it to the side and move on to building the claw. Next, we're going to build the claw, which will actually grab our ping pong ball. To do so, I'm going to use 4 of our large paper clips. And we're going to start by bending them like so. I'm going to bend out the inside and then straighten both of these edges here until the paper clip is relatively straight, like so. And now I will complete that step with these next 3 paper clips as well. Okay, now that we've got all of our paper clips bent out, we're going to attach this to our arm. So grab your arm and pick a side to be the end. I'm going to pick the thicker end because it gives me more space to work with. And we're going to start taping these on. So I'm going to tape on our first one by just sticking some tape onto the paper clip and then taping it onto the arm so that it sticks straight off like so. Feel free to add more tape if you want it to be more secure. And then add another paper clip directly across from it on the other side of the arm. So I'll get another piece of tape and attach it directly opposite the one I just added, like so. And then repeat this step with the other 2 paper clips directly across from each other in order to make kind of a plus shape with the arrangement. So one here, and then another one here. If you want to make these connections more secure, after adding all 4 of them, you can also wrap some tape around the entire end of this assembly in order to secure these all on. So I'll wrap this on nice and tight. Just like that, and that's secured. So now we've got all of our paper clips attached, but our last step will be to bend them into kind of a claw shape. So if I just make a claw shape with my hand, that's kind of what we want. We want it to grab onto the ping pong ball. So I'm going to try to bend them into that shape while keeping them secured in place. And when bending the paper clips, make sure they're all kind of bending inwards in the same direction, like so. So you can see this claw is a little bit messy, but I will go ahead and clean this up off camera, and then we're ready to move on to our testing step. Now that we're done building our ping pong pickup device, we're ready to test it. To test, simply place the ping pong ball on the ground, and then we're going to try to use the claw to grab the ping pong ball. The best way I've found to do this is to either try to fit the ball through one of the gaps or to try to rotate the claw around to grab it. As you can see, I grabbed the ping pong ball, and then I can move it to another location and release it. To make this more challenging for your students, you could put boxes on the ground for them to move the ball between, or you could put lines at different distances for them to try to grab the ball from. If your ping pong pickup device is not working, there are a few things that you can try. First, if the arm is too flimsy, you may want to secure the connections better with tape, overlap the pieces of paper to make them more rigid, or to wrap the pieces of paper tighter to make them stronger. If you are building a claw like me and you're having trouble holding the ball once you pick it up, you can also use other paper clips to add more fingers to the claw, or you can use the paper cup to make it more stable. Remind your students that improvement is part of the engineering design process, and it allows us to create better and safer designs. Feel free to take a step back if your project is not working, go back to the blueprint worksheet, and find a way that you could use the materials to build a stronger and a better ping pong pickup device. Now that we are done testing, let's talk about how our ping pong pickup device works. As mechanical engineers, we must consider the concepts of rigidity and stiffness. Since we are grabbing our ping pong ball from far away, we needed to create a long arm to reach out in front of us. A longer arm would perform better, but it would also be less rigid. Rigidity or stiffness is a measure of how strong or hard something is. It is a description of how resistant a material is to bending or deforming under pressure. And if a material is stiff, then it will hold its shape even under a lot of force. We needed to design our arm in a way in which we maximized both stiffness and length, making compromises to accomplish both. For example, I could have not inserted the ends of each roll into each other to make it slightly longer, but then I would have compromised on stiffness. We could have also added another piece of paper to make the arm longer, but then our entire assembly may have been less rigid from far away. When designing machines, mechanical engineers spend lots of time thinking about the materials they use as well as the properties of those materials. Aspects such as rigidity, weight, and cost are all very important considerations to engineers when designing devices such as this one. Now that you know how our ping pong pickup device works, here are some things that you can think about. What materials would have been more rigid for us to use? Could we have made our arm longer, and how? And what other applications could our arm have?